The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Welcome to the Jesse Blake Sports Report. Whether this is your first time here, your last time here, or somewhere in between, I appreciate that you're here today so that we can discuss Shohei Ohtani finally talking to the media, and he did it minutes ago from when I'm recording this. I just watched Shohei address the media, give his prepared statement, and we got the statement through his new interpreter, Will Irriton, who is a manager, who is a member of the Dodgers coaching staff and performance operations there at the Los Angeles Dodgers. He is the new interpreter after Ippei Mizuhara was fired last week, unceremoniously fired last week. And if you're not familiar with the story, if you're catching this for the first time, first of all, go back and watch the first pod on this story where I summarize the whole thing and all of the details. But to catch you up, before we get into all of the details that Shohei Ohtani gave us during his press conference minutes ago, I took full notes. I'm just going to run through the notes and we're going to talk about that. If you don't know the story, I'll summarize it for you quickly, but go back and watch the first pod to get all of the details. Ippei Mizuhara is Shohei Ohtani's interpreter, a former interpreter now. Last Tuesday, it came out through ESPN and the LA Times that he has a giant gambling addiction, and he was making bets with an illegal bookmaker named Matthew Bauer, and those debts rang up to $4.5 million. And Ippei claimed that Shohei paid off these debts to the illegal bookmaker, who is currently under federal investigation. The feds are investigating this guy named Matthew Bauer. Ippei claimed Shohei paid off all of his debts, totaling $4.5 million, out of the kindness of his heart, and he sent wire transfers to Matthew Bauer, the illegal bookmaker. After that came out, Ippei apparently addressed the Dodgers clubhouse. He told them that the story was coming out. And from there, moments after that initial report, that Ippei was lying and that Shohei's camp came out and told ESPN that it is not true. Shohei did not pay off those debts out of the kindness of his heart. It was actually Ippei who stole the money and made the wire transfers himself from Shohei's bank accounts to the illegal bookmaker. So that's where we sat. We have Shohei's camp claiming that Ippei did have these giant gambling debts and that he made those wire transfers to the illegal bookmaker from Shohei's account through Shohei didn't know they happened. It was massive theft is what they called it. So finally, we got word from Shohei Ohtani about what's happening, and we got some info because up until the few minutes ago, we had not heard from Ohtani. The only thing we had heard from Ohtani's camp is that this was theft and that he did not approve those wire transfers. So he began his statement today in the press conference today with, "I've never bet on baseball or any other sports. Up until a few days ago, I didn't know this was happening. Ippei was stealing money from my account and telling lies." That's the first thing we get. We get Shohei denying that he bet on baseball, that he denying that he bet on anything, and that he had no contact with this illegal bookmaker, and that the statement in response to Ippei's first interview with ESPN is what he's going with. He didn't know any of this was happening. Ippei stole the money. That's the first thing he says. And I think that's very important that he comes out and denies betting on baseball, because that would be the cardinal sin. That is, you're out of here forever if you bet on baseball. Shohei denies that right off the top. Next thing he addresses is the timeline of events, which is pretty cool that we get the details of how this went down through Shohei's words. So he says last week, media in Korea reached out to his camp, and Ippei did not reveal that there was a media inquiry. And Ippei told the media that Ohtani paid off his debt as a friend. So Korean media reaches out to Shohei Ohtani's camp. Ippei Mizuhara tells the media all of the lies that he wants to tell them, that, yes, Shohei paid off the debt and all that stuff. And he doesn't reveal to the camp that the media reached out because he's the interpreter. So he spins whatever narrative he wants, and he goes back to Ohtani's camp and he tells them that, oh yeah, everything's fine, I took care of it. Upon further questioning, it was revealed that Ippei was in debt and told his representatives that this was a lie. So Ippei has been telling people that he has been talking with Shohei about everything, and that was untrue. So Ippei's, when he did his first interview with ESPN and all of the Korean media and all of those things, he was telling people that he was in full contact with Shohei Ohtani and that he was translating and telling them what the media he's been doing. But according to Shohei Ohtani, that was not true. Ippei was lying about that, and Shohei had no idea that any of these things were going on. And through his translating gig, he was keeping Shohei in the dark about all the media he was doing. So the first time Ohtani says he found out about what Ippei was doing was then when Ippei Mizuhara addressed the Dodgers clubhouse after their game on Tuesday. So after the game on Tuesday, he revealed that a story is coming out about his gambling. And Ohtani said, I kind of understood what was going on. Even though it was in English, I kind of knew that something weird was happening because I understood some of the words, but not fully. So after that meeting, they go back to the hotel, and I find out he has a massive debt. So that's what Ohtani says. After that clubhouse meeting, he's like, okay, what is this thing you were telling everybody about, this gambling story? And he goes back to his hotel with his camp, with Ippei Mizuhara, and he finds out the full story, basically, at that point, is what Ohtani claims. Up until the meeting, I didn't know Ippei had a gambling addiction and was in debt, and I never agreed to make payments to the bookmaker. He says that explicitly. I never knew he had a gambling addiction. I never knew he was in debt. I never agreed to make payments. Denies everything. When my representatives found out, I began talking to the Dodgers and my lawyers. So at that point, Ohtani told the Dodgers and his lawyers. So when they went back to the hotel, he found out he had a massive debt, and it was revealed that he was sending money using my account to the bookmaker, and that it was an absurd thing happening, and I contacted my representatives. And the Dodgers and the lawyers found out they had also been lied to because Ippei Mizuhara was not telling them anything that was going on. And then he goes, in conclusion, I never bet on any sports or willfully sent money to the bookmaker. I'm assisting in all investigations going on right now. I'm looking forward to focusing on the season, and there will be continued questions as this unfolds and continued answers, hopefully, as this whole thing unfolds. So that is everything he said. It was about roughly just over 10 minutes. I think it was about 12 minutes of his statement there. And that's all we got. And on Friday night, the Major League Baseball dropped that they have opened an investigation into this. They will be looking into Ohtani and Ippei, and the federal government will be involved because they have an active investigation. That's how we know about these wire transfers. So Major League Baseball will be investigating with this, and Ohtani has promised to cooperate with that investigation and any investigations that are currently going on. But to summarize, Ohtani says he found out about this on Tuesday with the rest of the world, when we all found out about it on Tuesday when the articles were released and Ippei addressed the clubhouse. He denies everything. He's sticking with the story that it was Ippei who made those wire transfers from his account, and he had no idea about the gambling addiction, about the bookmaker, any of that. So that's where we sit. We're not going to get a lot of info, I think, unfortunately, out of this situation. I want more. I want more details. I don't think we hear from Ippei anytime soon. I assume it's going all through lawyers and that this is going to be real quiet for a long time here, for a couple weeks maybe, unless we get more investigation done by Tisha Thompson over at ESPN or the LA Times. I think that's where we're going to hear things come out. But directly from Ohtani or the Dodgers or MLB, it's going to be pretty mum here for a little bit. But I'm hopeful that the investigation continues from the reporters, and I think that's where we're going to get some more juicy news, is from the MLB insiders or the investigative reporters who are going to keep digging into this, because there's so many layers. We need to find out exactly what's going on here, and this isn't the full story. Okay, even if that's 100% true that Ippei made those wire transfers from Shohei's account. Okay, that's the truth, right? we need to find out, like, how does he have access to your bank accounts? How is that the situation that's been set up? And if he was lying about those media inquiries that were coming in and him not relaying them back to Ohtani's camp and him just answering them himself, what else has Mizuhara lied about during his tenure with Ohtani? Are we going to get answers on that? Are we going to find out over the course of a number of years that Mizuhara said this, and this, and he translated incorrectly for Ohtani? I think that is a huge issue that could come out in the next weeks and months out of this story. So that's the summary of the press conference there. I got a lot more questions than answers. I think at this point, it's not a lot has changed from last Wednesday to today in terms of picking a side or falling on where you think the truth lies and where this investigation could be going, because we don't really have more details. The statement that Ohtani gave is it's what the line they've been giving ever since this came out. But we do have a little bit more details on his personal experience there, which was very interesting to hear. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you're watching this video, if you're on audio, tweet me. Let me know how you interact with the show, however you interact with the show. Let me know what you think about this on our Discord server. Let me know. It's fascinating. We're going to keep following it. We're going to keep having these updates anytime there's new news on this Ohtani story. That is it for me tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world, which shows be watching this right now or listening, and I appreciate you for that. Whew, what a story. Good night from Toronto.
And that is how it's done.
The Jesse Blake Sports Report with Jesse Blake.
Jesse Blake, the guy that likes to hear his name twice in one sentence. Sure, I know him. No, he doesn't have an ego at all.